So in today's video, you'll get to see a little snippet of the type of training I'm going to be doing going forward in 2021. And also, I'm going to discuss why I haven't been training. And it's going to be a massive topic, so yeah, stay tuned. So why have I not been training? Well, this is where to even start. Basically, I couldn't be fucked since Christmas, and it's funny with the first lockdown, I trained flat out. I loved it. Jiu-jitsu was cancelled, and I went hell for leather back at the weights, and it was great because I hadn't done sort of disco muscle bodybuilding type stuff for years, and that was my bread and butter since the mid-90s. So this first lockdown, I definitely trained flat out, and food wise was very good and everything else. And obviously there's been on off lockdown since. With this lockdown, I was very conscious that I train all the time, and I would be known as like the king of consistency, where I am not great at a lot of things, but I just turn up a lot, and I generally turned up more than other people, and could end up quite good at stuff. But it was purely just consistency. So a couple of things, I was being very lazy in this lockdown, but I also wanted to rest and just total rest. Now, there's other times where I'll deload and I'll wind stuff back and I'll adjust my rep ranges or intensity or whatever it is. But this time around, I thought, you know what? From basically Christmas, I think today was my literally second or third proper workout. Might have only been my second. Jen's been training the other way. She's nearly doing weights every day with a wee sort of hit workout later on, like a wee bit of skipping or battle ropes or whatever it is. But yeah, I wanted to rest totally. I also had a lot of work on actually with the video online type stuff, and I had a few things to do on the back end of my website. I was also learning to play chess after watching The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, and I've decided I'm going to learn to play chess. And I've literally been sitting some nights 1, 2 in the morning trying to beat guys at chess, and I don't know if it's just because I'm missing a wee bit of the strategy of jits and that sort of stuff, but yeah, that's been my new interest. So yeah, with today, I sort of thought it's the 6th of February today, and that's given me sort of good 6 weeks of rest. And although I did the FRC course last year, and you'll see a wee bit of that in this video, I thought I'm not even going to do any of my CARs, which is controlled articular rotations. I didn't do any of that, didn't do any of my peels and rails. I just took 6 weeks of total just winding it right back. Another thing I'm very conscious of is that when training is allowed to start back and sort of work and everything, I know I'll be back in my routine. So for me at the minute, there's something very nice about actually not having a massive routine, because I didn't realize how routine based I was until I actually had a routine, and then you come out of it and it's like, oh. So when I'm thinking about it is the next, when jiu-jitsu starts again, when work starts again, you start training people again, start just doing a lot more of that sort of stuff, I will be back training. And when I am back training, it's full steam ahead, where I train with a couple of mates Monday, Wednesday, Friday, another big mate on a Sunday the odd time. Plus, I'm going to have my training with my jits is going to be starting back. So, yeah, that's a bit of an idea of where I'm at. The other thing is, like, it's funny, and I had this conversation with an online guy actually not that long ago, but talking about motivation and stuff, and I says, you know what? Sometimes you just cannot be motivated all the time. You cannot be disciplined all the time, nor should you really be. It's nice to have downtime where you just don't think about training and go and learn to play chess and do keep you up, take kids for a walk, and learn a bit of photography type stuff. On that note, here's a snippet of my sort of workout. So today I was very conscious that I hadn't trained, and this is something you should pay attention to if you haven't trained and the gyms are going to be opening soon, that you don't want to go in and try and go eye of the badger at your previous workouts that you were doing before. So before this lockdown, I've been working on like one arm chin up practice and was getting actually quite low on my support arm. That was sort of the main thing I was practicing on, along with a lot of my mobility stuff, because I noticed that my overhead overhead sort of flexion extension was a wee bit stiff, and my ribs were flaring up. My lower back was taking a bit of an angle. So my training before this lockdown was based on improving my shoulders, improving my hip mobility. For jits is all hips and grips, so I wanted my hips to be really good, and working on a bit of a one-arm chin-up practice, because I've never actually had a full-scale one-arm chin-up. So yeah, in this video you'll see, like, I start off with a spear press, and a spear press is a single arm overhead press. There's a lot of stability involved. The difference in going from a dumbbell to a barbell is crazy. Like, there's a bit of balance involved, and I pair my overhead vertical press, the spear press, with my one arm chin up. So I'm sort of doing a vertical push pull. I like these patternized movement patterns. I work on them quite a lot. And then I also have a wall car in there, so when I'm not working, or instead of resting, I'm doing active rest, where I'm working on the rotation of my shoulder capsule. And basically that is a massive thing, where if you have shoulder issues of any description, attack rotation and get the capsule to understand that the rotation is okay. And if you've got good rotation, your abduction, adduction, flexion, extension will all improve with that. So I start off my workout with a unilateral sort of single arm overhead press, unilateral single arm vertical pull, wee bit of capsular sort of rotation. Sets and reps wise, I was just sort of freestyling a wee bit. So I went light enough and just played with it. So some sets were maybe, like the chin up, I just worked on maybe 2s and 3s and 4s, but I made it quite easy for myself. So you'll see where, rather than holding the bottom of the ring, I hold a wee bit higher, where I'm not far off just doing a full chin up. But whereas before I was actually had the strap unraveled a bit and I was holding on to the bottom of the ring. So everything I did today was just scaled off slightly. And then I moved into my horizontal push-pull, which in this case was a dumbbell row or tripod row, 2-point row, rack supported row, but basically a horizontal unilateral single arm row. And with that I did a floor press. And the floor press I love, because you actually get a lot of neck and sort of trap and even jaw stuff. You also get that wee bit of core. Once your weight starts to go up a wee bit, you get a bit of core in it. There's a bit more sort of happening than if you're just lying on a bench and doing it. And it's funny, like a lot of people when they floor press, they'll just replicate a bench press on the floor. But I like to press and rotate to the side and really go for that bow and arrow type straight line on this arm, the extended arm. And you'll find the shoulder stability is just massive. So I had the tripod row, I had the floor press, both horizontal push-pull, keeping it unilateral. When you do the single arm stuff, it shows up a couple of your sort of your issues. And I noticed this actually on my right shoulder doing the spear press, whereas if you were doing a barbell, you might not see that. So I actually quite like, I'm gonna have an upper body day that's unilateral based with a bit of the controlled articular rotations, which is the cars. With my horizontal push-pull, I also have a bit of a, most people will recognize it like as a reverse fly type exercise for the back of your shoulder, rear delts. It's basically a modified swimmer position. So generally that's just to improve the sort of range again of my shoulder at the back, because that's where I feel a wee bit weaker. At the very end, I finish off with a wee bit of my GMB type flow. GMB is a movement-based course I did years ago, and they were really, really good, and really detailed on the real basic shapes. So it was a real eye-opener sort of course I did a few years ago. And all I'm doing there is a bit of an advanced bear version of a bear crawl, which is basically a Spider-Man up and down the floor just to finish. So that workout took me less than an hour, and that was with faffing about with the camera and having a bit of fun and check the odd email in between, the odd sort of WhatsApp comes through. But yeah, I hope there's a few wee nuggets in there. Just give you an idea of what I do. And what I do is very different to what a lot of other guys do. And I say a lot of other guys will do like chest on a Monday, legs in February, and back and biceps on a Friday or something. But yeah, what I do is very different, and it's evolved over years where I try and pick the best bits. It's like chefs don't have to follow recipes. They know how to pull the right bits and make them sort of work together, and that's what I feel I'm doing with my training, and especially going forward. So my lower body days will be very much based on improving my squat patterns again, just getting hips going, doing some hip rotation stuff. And I still get a wee bit of back tightness from a jits injury. So I'll spend a wee bit of time on that. So at the minute, I'll maybe do some sumo deadlifts and a lot of single leg work on my lower body day. So that's going to be tomorrow. So yeah, just thought I'd throw up a wee video. I'm playing about with some video editing type stuff as well. So purely an excuse to have fun with that. So catch you on the next one.